Hi, everyone. It's Coach Mo Fall, and I've got a zinger for you. Most women will recoil when I say this, but I'm going to talk today about one of the main reasons why people move ahead: likability. I know. As a woman growing up, I was pressured into smiling, being nice, being agreeable. And I think that for many professional women, we get confused about what it takes to succeed in the world because being likable seems like putting on a performance. It seems like we have to be someone we're not. And if you think about that, that's a little bit strange because that means that you don't think that you're likable. Hmm. Now, if you don't think you're likable, isn't that a problem? If you think that being yourself is not the right way to be, we got some work to do. We do. And here's the thing: humans are human. And of course, we want to hang out with people who are interesting, fun, or enjoyable to hang out with. Don't you? You don't want to hang out with people who are miserable. I'm going to stop right here and I'm going to take a sidebar because there's one pet peeve I have, and that is for the smart woman in the room to say, I'm just going to play the devil's advocate for a second. Er, don't do that. Do not be on the devil's side of anything. Don't you think that statement itself tells you that you should not be doing that? What does the devil's advocate mean? It means negative Nancy has shown up with Debbie Downer. You don't want to be that. So, first of all, if that's anything that you do, stop it right away. You're not being likable. And I can remember being in executive meetings where there would be someone who we may have brought in because she had some expertise that maybe some of us may have had gaps, or that department was going to be the one leading a particular initiative that we were starting, or thinking that would be something that would enhance the business or the client's experience. And invariably, we'd be sitting there, and all of a sudden, this subject matter expert or department lead would be negative on the strategy. And after she left, and it's usually a she who does this. I don't know that too many guys do devil's advocate. Just saying, check it out yourself. Take your own poll. We would invariably say, she's really our best we got for that department. Yep. Don't be that person. Don't be her. Don't. If you don't like something or don't agree with it, you have to have a different approach. I'm going to now turn our attention toward one of the most famous, well read, well published books on likability ever: Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. That book probably came out in the 20s or 30s, and it was the preeminent book for salespeople because salespeople instantly make money, or rather, instantly make money on winning people over. So when they win people over, they likely get a sale. So it's really easy for salespeople to calibrate whether they're doing the right things with their people skills. And for you, engineer, marketer, healthcare executive, salesperson, engineer, project manager, whatever your role is, you've got to learn how to win friends and influence people as well. And in order to do it in the best way, it has to be congruent with who you are. Because success is built on a genuine interest in others, empathy, and positive reinforcement. And when I do my advanced communication techniques classes, leadership academy, I always talk about influencing others. And one of my clients said, "Oh, Mo, that's manipulation." So we're using positive strategies to pull people in our direction. This is what we call manipulation. It's having a genuine interest in what others want and need and desire. It is then having empathy in a warm, uh, personal way, human way, and then having positive reinforcement of that direction. So Dale Carnegie And I've taken a few of the courses with Dale Carnegie. Matter of fact, the company that had the license for that for a while did some leadership training many, many years ago that I thought was really fantastic. So there are fundamental techniques in the Dale Carnegie method, and this is all likability stuff. So pay attention, take notes, and make some changes for yourself. Fundamental techniques: don't criticize, condemn, or complain. You got that? So, devil's advocate is all about criticizing, condemning, and complaining. Stop it. Give honest appreciation. Hey, Joe, that's an ambitious, ambitious goal. Here's the way I would think our department could do that and be successful. Why can't you frame things in that way? You will now. Please stop this, rewind the last 15 seconds, and write that down. So, as we move forward into having these fundamental techniques, we give honest appreciation. Most people, women we've worked with over the years, think that honesty is full disclosure, and it's not true. You don't ever have to have full disclosure on anything, ever. You're 100% control of what you let out. So, why not have honesty and appreciation together? You want to arouse in people this eagerness, and eagerness eventually is like, I want to follow her. She's got great ideas. She's got a great attitude. She's got great energy. People like people who smile, remember names, good listener, and talk in terms of other person's interests. You see, there's a very subconscious element in all of us human beings. And when someone else is interested in stuff that we're interested in and or interested in who we are and what we are about, it changes the dynamic. And any communication class, training, coaching I've ever given, any leadership training I've ever given, focuses on knowing your audience. And that's not necessarily just tactical, it's practical. You have to know what your audience is jiving about. If you're talking to the finance folks about sales and collateral material and things that you have to do to bring clients to a lower level, the finance people are going, okay, great, but can we talk about money? That's a simplistic way of looking at it. So smile, remember names, be a good listener, and talk in terms of the other person's interests. And this can even get personal. Like if someone said to you at the last meeting that their daughter went off to college, why not remember that? And then so the next time, hey, John, how's your daughter doing in college? John's going to immediately think you're the coolest, smartest person on the planet. And you're doing that for that, but you're also doing it for, isn't that being a nice human being to be interested, curious, and supportive of someone else's personal experiences? I think so. When you are honest and appreciative and positive and smiling, remember names, and being a good listener, you're going to win people to your way of thinking without arguing. You're going to do it without being performance based on getting people to agree with you. And here's the other thing: you're going to be able to admit your faults quickly, and you're going to begin things always in a friendly way. You don't have to be Miss Buttoned Up and tight. Being a leader means that you praise improvement and encouragement, that you make faults seem easy to correct. Oh, no problem. Those things happen all the time. Let's do this instead. I've got grandkids, and when they spill stuff, I don't make them wrong. It's what happens. We just go into cleanup mode. That's the attitude you need to bring to work. Now, here's some more specifics. In order to do all that I just mentioned, you need to shift your focus to others. In other words, stop focusing on whether you're nervous or scared, whether you look good. Get out of your own ego and look at situations from others' perspectives. As an example, if you think that your boss is putting undue pressure on you, you're going to stay in the, my boss is putting undue pressure on me. How about if you take a step back, increase your perspective, and think, what pressure must my boss be having? You know how odd and special it is when a boss hears from one of their direct reports that they care about the pressure that they're under? I know that when any of my direct reports were even curious to understand the pressures that were coming on me, I felt supported and I felt seen. I felt that that person gives a shit beyond their own workload. And so this is what you must do. Remove your ego and step into their shoes. Maybe ask a question. Boss, I know you're putting a lot of pressure on us. Gosh, you must be feeling a lot of heat from above. Is there anything else that we can do to support you and make this department shine so that you look great? Are you thinking that's just, shining up? It is. And that's what you're supposed to do at work. That's one of the rules of the game. Matter of fact, it's rule number one, to take things off of your boss's plate, including emotional burden, and be curious about what's going to help them be successful and help them win. Your number one job at work is to help your boss look good, be good, and win. And so when you shift the focus to others, start with your boss. This is the second lesson in my Leadership Academy. Second lesson. And it's weaved through a lot of the other lessons along the way. Your number one job is to be pleasing, helpful, and supportive to your boss. That alone is going to get you all in the likability category. So, as you're winding your way out of your ego and into other people's perspectives, I also want you to avoid arguments. Some people at your workplace may be argument mavens. That might be like their way of dealing with the world. And they may be all out to win at all costs. That doesn't mean that you have to be that way. Hey, Betty, I know we all want this to go in a different direction. We've gotten off track with it, and it looks like none of us are winning. But let's shift the focus to how we can all win and get this back on track. We're losing time and valuable energy arguing and criticizing each other. So let's get back on track. What are the three things, Betty, that you think that you really need to do or we could support you on to get this project back on track? Again, when I put these types of statements in front of my clients, sometimes they're eye rolling like, I'd never be able to think of that in real time. Okay, so stop this video, rewind 15 seconds, and write that down. You can have some cue cards and things that you remember in order to do this. By the way, commercial insert. One of the things that I have been so proud and happy to do as a coach is to replace myself with a 24/7 agentic AI coach. Coach Moby has over 200 of hours of my coaching knowledge sitting in her and all of my methods and protocols for my career coaching workshop that I have been doing for over 12 years. We have a founders member pricing for Coach Moby that you can find by clicking mofall.com/Moby, M-O-B-I. And you'll find Moby to be one of the most agreeable, helpful, but also call you out on stuff 24/7. She's been supporting my clients who have been first in the queue to get her up and running and have her supporting them 24/7. Projects at work, issues at home, vision boarding, rewriting resumes, putting interview questions and answers, and 24/7 you have some of these answers. So you don't need to always come back to one of my podcasts for the exact quotables. You can have Moby in your hand. That's less than $10 a day to have a coach with you 24/7. I wish I've always been able to provide that. My coaching programs are between $7,000 and $15,000 a year. And I know that that's not always affordable for everyone. With Moby, it's under $10 a day, and you can have a coach 24/7 loaded with all of my knowledge. And she is warm, inviting, and lovely. Find out, you get a 14-day guarantee. Click below, find all about it, mofall.com/Moby. Now let's get back to our being likable. So we're going to shift the focus to others. We're going to avoid agreements, knowing that everyone wants to win. We're going to find ways to help them see the win without arguing with them. And we're going to be a good listener. We're going to encourage others to talk about themselves. Betty, what's been your experience over the last 4 weeks on this project so that we can understand some of the pressures or things that just didn't go in the right way? Just let us hear all about it so that we can sort it out together. Always use words like we, together, and I'd love to hear your perspective. Invite people in. That's how to be a good listener. Not everyone feels safe being invited to talk. So when you invite people to talk, you're already telegraphing to them that you respect them and trust them, and they in turn will do the same. How about using people's names? Now, that might feel at first like an awkward party trick, but I will tell you this, in speaking with tens of thousands of women over the last 12 years, some in pre coaching discovery calls, and many of them as clients, helping move them through difficulty, challenges, and seeing themselves in a bigger way, using someone's name subconsciously goes right in and says, I know you, I see you, I respect you. Whenever you use someone's name, you're giving them a handshake and a hug. You're giving them a pat on the back that they subconsciously are going, okay, yeah, I trust her. This is using basic human understanding. And when you don't use basic human understanding to help you advance your career and your life, well, you're just being, I don't know, I'm not going to say it because I don't want to get an argument and I don't want to be in my ego. Here's the other thing: admitting mistakes. As a matter of fact, there is something called humility that's not only for admitting mistakes, but also admitting that perhaps you don't know everything about a particular thing, and perhaps that someone else's perspective might help you. Hey, I know a lot about how we're going to go about this strategy, but I'd like to hear from you, Mary, and Mark, and Tom, so that we can really put the best of the best on this project. So, Mary, go ahead first, and let's hear what you got going so we don't make mistakes and we don't lose time and money any longer delaying this project. So, could you take 3 to 5 of these likability suggestions and give yourself the best opportunity to be likable, which means to be successful, without feeling that you're being incongruent or inauthentic? I'm going to challenge you to take a few items from this podcast and to change things for the better for yourself. Other people will notice that you're brighter and lighter. You're going to feel that way. And if you haven't done any work with me in the past, my name is Coach Mo. I am a career and executive leadership coach. I've been doing coaching for 12 years. After my successful career, I worked all the way up from being a cardiac nurse at the University of Pittsburgh Hospital through getting more involved and more excited about the business side of healthcare. I spent 30 years going up the ladder. I was never at a job longer than 5 years. And some people thought I was job hopper, couldn't stay in a job. But what I was ambitious. And I intuitively knew that if I wanted to move forward and move up, I needed to leap into new opportunities in new companies. I was held back in a few different companies for no reason I could figure out. So I just put myself on the road and got another opportunity. I took risks. I betted on myself. And I didn't always feel like a winner, but I always learned and I always bet on myself. And sometimes I had to dig deep for a little extra dose of courage. I moved from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to Durham, North Carolina for a great VP job, thinking I just hit the lottery. And that morning, when the moving truck was coming to the house, my father called. My father never called me. So he called. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning. Hey, Moe, that's what my parents call me. I don't think you should move to Durham with that company. That company just took a big stock hit yesterday. Sounds like things aren't going well with them. And I'm like, Dad, I have the house packed. The movers are coming in like 10 minutes. I'm going. And it might be a bit of a rocky road. I'm going to learn something. And you know what? I'm moving to Durham, North Carolina. Part of the impetus for moving wasn't just a career move, but I wanted to move to a little bit warmer of a climate. The joke was on me because the first winter that we were there, Durham had the worst winter in 50 years. So that's the universe saying, hey, Mo, how about a little bit more south? Well, that job didn't work out after about 18 months. I was transferred for a while to Owings Mills, Maryland, and it did not work out. So I got a job through the VP who had hired me, senior VP who had hired me through their recruiter for a job in South Florida. You don't know the road that your source, divinity, God is going to put you on, but you have to make the moves. You have to chart the course. You have to leave the shore and bet on yourself. And then the universe will continue putting you in a position for the next best, the next best, the next best. No move is wrong, really, because you're either going to win or learn, or both. So that's who I am. That's what I'm all about. This podcast on being likable is probably worthy of you listening to it at least one more time. And if you want all of these tools 24/7 in your hand, it's mofall.com/MOBI, Moby. Moby is our new coach on the team. She never sleeps. She's pretty much always right. And she is so helpful. And she's going to remember how you have engaged with her. It's not Chat GPT called Moby. This is a knowledge base coming from me and hundreds of hours of my coaching so that you can tap into that knowledge at the drop of a hat and with instantaneous coaching, helpful tips, things to say in meetings, ways to approach your boss, things to say to your teenagers, ways to create boundaries with your friends, everything that you would need to have a coach in your hand. It's Coach Moby, mofall.com/Moby. And again, your task, your EP level for this week is to be likable. Let's take it. Let's take it. Be likable. Change the narrative. Be awesome. Enjoy your week. This is Coach Mo. We'll see you on the next podcast episode.